Hello and welcome to my channel. I am Stephanie. This is the week 40 weekly wrap up for September the 29th until October the 5th. As I said, this is the weekly wrap up, and last week I did pretty much the same as I did the week before that. The fall season for television shows has definitely changed my reading, and I read 8 books again last week. Yes. And I'm up super early, so you guys are seeing the t-shirt from last night's chat with Bree. If you missed it, please make sure you it's over on my channel, and I will link it up there so you guys can go check that out. We discussed some serious hot takes on the book community and things that are going on there, some things that are just off the wall and crazy, but we had a great time for 2 hours of chatting, and it was so much fun, and we hope that you guys will, you know, check us out in the future as well. We don't have a schedule yet, but, you know, when things come up, we'll be discussing over wine after we put our kids to bed, and hopefully with less technical difficulties that we did last night. So let's get into what I read last week. So last week I started the week off by reading The Tip-Off, Smart Jocks number 3 by Rebecca Jenshak. And I'm placing this in New Adult. I give it 4 stars. I give it 2 Steam fans. I listened to it on audiobook at the request of the PR team that is promoting this book. And I really enjoyed this book. It is about Zeke, who is in his last year of college, or that last year before you go into the NBA draft. And he has been this sort of upstanding, you know, basketball player, doesn't go out and drink, doesn't go out to party or anything like that, and his group of friends are all coupled up except for him. And they have a friend named Gabby who had an accident back in the day, and she's now able to get back to sort of her life, so she wants to have the college experience. She transfers in because while she was recovering from her accident, she was doing things online, and now she's back, and the couples end up going on a spring break trip, I think it is. So Zeke, I hope I didn't say Zach, it's Zeke and Gabby end up sort of hanging out while everybody else is on the trip, and they figure out that, you know, they have some things in common, and he sort of starts to protect her. And I think that started even before they went on their spring break trip. They were out at the bar or whatever. So the two of them start to, you know, have feelings for each other, and then he ends up getting drafted, and you know, their story is light, it's fun, it's very hopeful, and I really did enjoy listening to it, and the narrators were pretty good as well. The next book that I finished was Well Met by Jen DeLuca, and I placed this in New Adult. I give this book 4 stars. I give it 2 Steam fans. I listened to it as an audiobook, and this has been all the rage here on YouTube, and has been getting really good hype from the booktube community. And my friend Bree, we discussed this. I think there are some things about the story that did fall off just a little bit, but I was able to relate to the story a little bit more than Bree did, because I actually live in the area in which the story takes place, so I could actually, you know, get those sort of visuals that were getting put out within the book. I've actually went to the Maryland Renaissance Fair that they speak about in it, and I know how big it is. Like, the players are hardcore ride or die for, you know, the mission of the fair. It is like set up year round like it's described and stuff like that, but I'm getting so far ahead of myself. This book follows Emily, who comes back to her small town with her family after her sister gets into a near fatal accident, so she starts to take care of the teenage daughter. Well, the teenage daughter wants to participate in their small town's Renaissance fair, and to participate she has to have an adult with her, and Emily, the aunt, ends up getting wrapped into it. Simon is the coordinator of the Renaissance Fair. There is some backstory with that, and one of the things that we were discussing is that, you know, the two of them, they were telling each other, they were communicating to each other about their issues, but neither one of them were listening. So I found that a little bit frustrating, and I think Bree found that a little bit more frustrating. But other than that, it was a really, really cute, fun story. It was, like I said, just frustrating that they weren't listening. They were telling each other what the issues were, but they weren't listening to it. But I did enjoy the journey. So that ended September. Those two books are in the September wrap-up, and these are the books that I finished in October. So I never did that distinction before, but I figured I'd do it now. I don't know. So the next book that I finished was Sweet Agony by Christy Pastore, and this, I placed this in contemporary. Gave this book 4 stars. Nope. Gave this book 4.5 stars. I gave it 3 Steam fans. I read it as an arc, and this book follows Caroline and Brant. Brant is the son that is coming back to town to take over the bourbon business that his family has, and there is some old family history, sort of like you know, feuding families over the bourbon recipe, and Caroline's family is involved in it, Brent's family is involved in it, and they had a semi-fling when she was still in high school, but he was like in his first or second year in college, so there's a little bit of an age gap. Now that age gap is gone. He ghosted her when she was younger. She didn't know what was going on, so they had some tension. What I really liked is that they got through that tension super early within the storyline, and they moved on from there. They communicated what was wrong, what they, you know, what they were feeling, and you get to see what happens after, you know, they communicate to each other, hey, this is how I felt back then when you just ghosted me, and this is what I was going through when I ghosted you, and the reason that I ghosted you. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. Really, really enjoyed it. And I loved being back on the bourbon trail that Christy is building with this small town. The next book that I finished was Chaos Station. Chaos Station #1 by Jenn Burke and Kelly Jensen. I placed this in LGBT sci-fi, or sci-fi LGBT. This was interesting. So I gave it 4 stars. I gave it 4 Steam fans. I listened to it as an audiobook, and it's part of my project that I'm doing for Read Bliss for next month. And so they provided it to me. Wow. So it's like way post-apocalyptic. I don't even know if I can say post-apocalyptic, because it's set in space. We've had space wars, we've had aliens that have come in, and there's like 2 or 3 factions besides the humans, and we're all living in space. There's super soldiers, there's just all kinds of craziness that's going on. And Zed and Felix, they grew up in the academy together, but then Zed went his own way and Felix went his own way. Zed thought Felix was dead, and whew, there's so much going on with this book, but it was like really, really interesting. Super interesting. Not as interesting that I'm going to keep on with the series, because I think there's like 6 books in this series, but definitely interesting to keep me involved in this sci-fi story, because y'all know that I don't do sci-fi all that often. And the sexual chemistry between Zed and Felix was off the chain. Off the chain, okay? I mean, not like I need to go take care of myself, but definitely hot and steamy. The next book that I finished was Concerto, which is North Security #2 by Skye Warren. I placed this in dark romance. I give it 3.5 stars. I give it 2.5 Steam fans. I listened to it as an audiobook, and I listened to it for Romance Genreathon as a dark romance. This book is a continuation of Liam and Samantha's story. Samantha is now 18. Liam has put her on tour. She ends up going on tour. He tries to stay away, ends up, you know, having his brother, who's part of the North security team, follow her instead of him while he tracks down some other things. There's a whole bunch of other twists and turns and things like that. The things that I found flawed within this is that there were way too many voices without any distinction. So we were hearing from Samantha, from Liam, from Liam's brother, from Samantha's friends, and there was no distinction of who was actually speaking within the story. And I was like, oh, but who am I? Why are you talking about yourself in the third person? No, oh, that's because this person isn't talking right now and this isn't there. Ugh. So it got a little frustrating. It did move it along. I think it's, you know, maybe suffering from second book syndrome, maybe. I don't know. But that ending, the ending makes me want to read the third book, which I plan on doing anyway. So yeah. Okie dokie. Now, woo. The next book that I finished reading was a hate read for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you guys the basics, and then I will drop the picture, give you a brief synopsis of what the story is supposed to be about, and then I will put the picture of the book back up when I get to the ranty, spoilerish parts of this review for this book. And that book I'm talking about is Faker by Sarah Smith. I guess I'm placing this in contemporary. I give it one star. 1 star. I give it 2 Steam fans. Maybe. I don't even remember why I'm giving it 2 Steam fans, but I have a feeling, I think there should be 2 Steam fans there. I did read it as an arc, and this book follows Emmy and Tate. So Emmy is a woman that is in a male-dominated career field. She works with tools. She is, I want to say she's he is the social media director, coordinator type person, and she does their online presence for like the online store or whatever. She takes the pictures and makes sure that the tools can be sold online. Well, the 2 of them end up having to work together on a project, but for some reason, they don't like each other. Emmy thinks that Tate doesn't like her because their offices are super close together and they don't speak. It's a small company, but they don't have any connection whatsoever. And this is their story about how they go from hate to lovers and things like that. Okie dokie. So here's the picture. Here's the spoilery part. Here's the tea. Here is the craziness on why I think this book is dumpster fire trash. Oh my goodness. If you don't want to hear it, you know, click off. Do what you have to. What have you. But this book right here, I was like, it has been getting so much hype. Everybody's like, oh my gosh, it's so great. No, it is not great. This book is absolute trash. So much trash. Oh my gosh, I cannot go into how much trash this is. So our characters are supposedly a interracial couple. Okay, I'm cool with that. Emmy is supposed to be Filipino and Caucasian. I do believe it says that her father is white from the Midwest and things like that, but her mother is from the Philippines. They lived in Hawaii, but had to move from Hawaii to the Midwest when they couldn't afford to live in Hawaii anymore. Okay. Now, I don't know very many people that are Hawaiian or have that sort of skin tone claiming to be olive-skinned. When I think olive-skinned, I think Mediterranean. So if I am to read this and it says that I have olive skin, I'm like, use a basic white girl because you from the Mediterranean, right? Oh, no. Then I start talking about how I like mangoes and pineapples and things like that. What the And then Emmy's obsession with how white Tate is drove me up a wall. Not even 2 chapters in, and it just went completely downhill with her obsession on how glowy, white, paleness, his skin was. I was like, okay, is there a reason we're obsessed with it? And I was like, okay, we're cool. Okay, she's describing it, you know, up to the second chapter or so. And then I was like, she brought in the phrase boss bitch because, you know, she's in this male-dominated world, so she got to be the boss bitch. Got to be the boss bitch. And I was just like, really? So she doesn't like going down to the warehouse because they like to objectify her, and there's this creepy guy that is sort of flirting with her but not flirting with her, and she just feels real creepy. And so the one day that Tate ends up going down with her, he supposedly, you know, creeps her out, and then Tate steps in. But on that same trip, another female employee is objectifying, I want to say like the male guy or something like that. Nothing said to her. And then Emmy gets into this accident at the work site. And all of a sudden, Tate's taking care of her. And, you know, all in these intimate settings. Okay, he gives her a bath. Like, he sits on the toilet seat while she's in the bath. Granted, the curtain's closed. But really? This is a person that you supposedly thought hated you, and you couldn't figure out that he liked you or had some issues that, you know, no, you were too busy obsessing about his whiteness and his paleness and his glowing skin because it's white. Ugh. Oh my goodness. And you had to, you know, fake being a boss bitch at all times because you had to appear strong. So, by this time, I'm hate reading this book, just so I can get through it, so I can do this ranty, crazy review for you guys. And in finishing that dumpster fire of trash, I decided to pick out those keywords that I have been saying throughout this rant right here, and let you know how many times they were said. So, boss bitch was said 8 times throughout this book. This book is no more than like 250 pages. I mean, I think it's like 25 chapters or something like that. How you gonna say boss bitch like 8 times? Really? Really? Okay. The author used the term paleness or pale 12 times. Milk, as in skin of milk, white, 2 times. Milky, the term milky, 5 times. Light skinned, 4 times. And glow in conjunction with the white skin, 9 different times. That is an obsession. That is out of control craziness. It's cool if you do it like once or twice to describe someone so I can get a visual of that character that you were talking about. Okay. You know, her caramel skin and her dewy lips, and she had a sheen on her milk chocolate body. One time when I'm giving you that setup and what have you. But no, this shit went all the way to the end of the book. The last chapter of the book has something about glowing white skin. Ooh, sweet Lord. Sweet Lord. I kind of want my 8 hours back from after this book, but I had to do like a hot take on it because it was just that bad. I don't know what y'all told her when you were doing your editing, or who you got to edit this book and didn't bring up all of this shit, but that shit was horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible. And I don't know why y'all think it's such a good book. Okay. That's done. The next book that I read was Claimed by the Elfin King by Christina Rayne. And I placed this in romantic sci-fi fantasy. Woo. Give this book 4 stars. I give it 3 Steam fans. I listened to it on audiobook, and this was a recommendation from Bree. She was randomly going through the Audible Escape program and found this book. She started reading it and was like, I have got to pass this on to Stephanie. Oh my goodness. She tells me about it. I go, I download it, and I read that bad boy in one setting. Oh my goodness. I was like, Friday night, she's telling me about this. I was like, I got to read this for our chat on Saturday. And then I started it and was like, I'm good, guys. I don't need dinner. Y'all can do what you want to do to my boys. I'm going to sit up in bed and listen to this book. So this is something that I didn't know that I needed, that I definitely needed. I have never read a book about elves, and this shit was so fantastic. I really enjoyed this book. Are there flaws in it? Yes. Is it breeding? Yes. Is it for everyone? No, it's not for everyone. Is it something that's like just guilty goodness? Yes. So many yeses. So Emily is the human that has been chosen to be the Elfin King's new bride wife, or like breeding wife, what have you. So elves and humans live on different planes. I think that's what they called it. Or we live on different dimensions. So technically I have an elf like dimension here that I can't see because they vibrate on a different, frequency, which I thought was super cool to include into the story, and that had me intrigued. So then Emily gets brought over by Sethin. That is his name. Sounds so yummy. And Sethin is like, okay, I'm gonna, you're gonna be my wife, and you had to go through some changes so that you can stay in this world with me. Well, after about 25%, after you've gotten past all the breeding stuff and stuff like that, you start learning the history of the elfin people. You find out that he has another wife that is an actual elf. There is, unrest within the court, and their court of people who follow him, that he rules over. And, that other wife is like, I don't like that you're tainted, and, stuff like that. And it turned into this like mysterious sort of story that I was just here for. I was like, oh, yes. One sitting, y'all. One. Is it for everyone? No, it's not. But it was definitely for me, and I really, really enjoyed it. The next story that I finished was Sweeter by Eve Dangerfield, and this is a short erotic story. I give it 3.5 stars. I give it 3 Steam fans. I listened to it on the podcast of Read Me Romance, and this book follows Marley, who is an artist, and Will, who is a rich guy. They live in this small town. It's a tech town, and Will's friend roommate ends up putting out a ad or some kind of take or something like that for sugar daddies, and Marley meets Will at a bar where a whole bunch of candidates to be babies, little girls, sugar babies, that's what it is, to be sugar babies, and the douchebag friend offered them like $500 just to meet there, and then bounces town. So Will has to sort of come and, calm the peoples. He ends up finding a connection with Marley, and this is sort of their thing. There's very little sexy time, but the sexy time that is there is hot, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was more of a teaser than it was a full short story, but it's all good. I enjoyed it. So what am I currently reading? I'm reading a lot. So I am reading A Lesson in Thorns by Simone. Whew. I wanted to read more last night. I actually wanted to finish this, but I didn't get it done because after our 2-hour chat last night, me and Bree, I went to bed. I was kind of tipsy, and the boy child was laying on the couch, and he needed to get put to bed and stuff like that, and I didn't get any listening done, but I will be finishing this today. I'm not recording any other videos today, so yeah, getting this video out, and then gonna finish that book. I'm also reading Halloween Boo by Spade. This book is another guilty pleasure that Bree found, and we are going to be reading it. I did start it this morning, and it seems like it's going to be something that's really cute and fun, and it deals with a ghost, so I'm here for it. I am still trying to read Twice in a Blue Moon by Christina Lauren. I'm going to probably break down and listen to this on text-to-speech so that I can get through this book. It's taking me a little more time than it usually would take to actually read it, so on my e-reader without listening to text-to-speech. So yeah, we're gonna pump that bad boy out. I am still working on my Team Player 2 sports anthology, which is a whole bunch of various authors, and there's over 1,000 pages. There are 9 stories, I think it is, in the book itself, in the anthology itself, so I'm just working my way through it. So alrighty, so have you read any of the books that I just talked about? Let me know down in the comment section if you have the same opinions as I do or if they are different. Let me know the difference. It's okay if we have differing opinions. That's fine. I don't care. Just don't come at me like you crazy, because I will let you know. My opinions are my opinions and yours are yours. So if you liked it, that's great. I just don't see it the same way if it's something that I didn't like. Let me know if there's anything that you're going to plan on picking up after my reviews, because I like to discuss that as well. As always, if you enjoyed the video, please give me a big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Also, there's a feedback form down in the description box so you guys can help me improve my channel. Thank you for watching, and we will see you guys later.